UNLV goes on the road and destroys Air Force in the second half for a comfortable victory. It was an awesome performance for Kimani Hamilton, a quiet 21 points for Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. Let's break it down. This is the Let's Run podcast. Everybody, welcome into the show today. Grateful to have you. Grateful to be talking about a Run and Rebel victory after what was an incredibly annoying loss on Wednesday to the Colorado State Rams to get back in the win column, even if it is against maybe one of the worst teams that that any team can play in the NCAA. This Air Force team is just, they're bad. I'm just posting this live post game link here. Well, give me one sec. So yeah, the Rebels go on the road. They were 16.5 point favorites. So ultimately they do cover. UNLV, I'm not sure what was the final margin of victory. Ends up winning 91-66. So a 25 point win. Really solid. I thought that the Rebels in the first half really struggled, especially defensively, and it was unfortunate to see Tyron Jones, Tyron Jones kind of. I think he actually was puking on the sideline at one point. So Tyron Jones didn't play very much in the second half, if at all. Ultimately, the Rebels didn't really need him as Kimani Hamilton put forth one of his best efforts as a run and Rebel, played what I thought was his most disciplined game. And listen, this Air Force team sucks, but to see Kimani Hamilton finish this game with 27 points and only one foul is pretty impressive. And so let's bring up the stats. This is not going to be a super long post-game show. Not a ton to say about the team after a win over Air Force, but we will prevail and get through this one. Did Howie Fleming really finish with a triple-double? So Howie Fleming, yeah, he did. Howie Fleming had 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Funnily enough, that was 10 defensive rebounds, so not even one offensive rebound. Not that the Rebels had a ton of opportunities to get offensive rebounds because they were shooting the ball pretty well. UNLV shot 64% or almost 65% from the field, and a nice cool 50% from three. So it was a really good offensive performance. Let's bring up the stats and let's talk about what happened in this one. So, first off, I'll go over the Air Force players. Lucas Hobbin, Cam Sanders, those were the two guys that were leading Air Force. Air Force is just, they were awful. And look, they made 8 threes at 36% clip. They out rebounded the Rebels, which is terrible. The Rebels were out rebounded 35-29. Now, some of that's because of the offensive rebounds. The Rebels, obviously, because they were scoring so efficiently, didn't have a lot of opportunities for offensive rebounds. But not good to get out rebounded by Air Force. Again, you have to understand this Air Force team is about as bad as it gets. For frame of reference, just to give you an idea how bad Air Force is. Air Force this season is ranked 350th in the country. I think they have 3 Division I wins on the season. Right at the start of the year, Alabama State, SIUE, I've never heard of that school before, and IU Indy. And then Air Force is on like a 20-game losing streak. And none of these games have even really been close. I mean, their closest defeat in Mountain West play, I believe, was against San Jose State, who is also terrible this year. So you have to understand and put into context that this Air Force team is about as bad of a basketball team as you can see in Division I. So Ken Pom has Air Force ranked 350th in the country this season. There are exactly 365 teams in the country. So Air Force is ranked as one of the 15 worst teams of the 365 teams in Division One basketball. Just to put that into context, that's about as bad as you could possibly be and still be a Division One team. There's a bunch of Division Two teams that are probably quite a bit better than this Air Force team. So, this was a good performance, obviously, but it is important to put that into context that UNLV needed to win this game by a lot, and they did. And so they got their job done, even though there were things about this game that I didn't like, that I didn't appreciate with the performance. UNLV ultimately did take care of business in this one. So yeah, Air Force, UNLV finally holds a team under 1 point per possession. They have only done that a couple of times this year, a few times this year. I think both the games against Air Force have been examples of that. But UNLV's defense finally has a not terrible day. Again, Air Force has the worst offense in the Mountain West Conference, so you would expect them to be able to do a bit better than that. Even honestly, even giving up 66 points to Air Force is probably too many. In UNLV's first meeting versus Air Force, UNLV only surrendered 38 points to them. So, not great. Air Force, their highest scoring output of the Mountain West season is 94 points against Colorado State. Otherwise, 66, I believe, is tied for. That's about as many points as they've scored in the Mountain West. So not a good defensive performance for the Rebels by any means, and a lot of this was because of the offensive rebounding. UNLV just gave up too many second chance points. But enough of that. Let's talk about the Rebels and their stats in this one. Starting Nas Cunningham, love to see him go in there and hit a three. Again, he's too talented to be riding the bench. But because of the way the rotations have worked out, there's just not a spot for him right now, which sucks because I think Nas Cunningham's pretty good. Jalen Cunningham, walk on, got a couple of minutes. Al Green goes in there, hits a shot. Al Green is just not materialized as a player that we hoped that he would. But he goes in there in garbage time. He played 10 minutes, so I think he got some time not in garbage time as well. Emmanuel Steffen, just another pretty bad. He barely played, only played 13 minutes, but 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 personal fouls. Emmanuel Steffen, not a very good performance from him. Tyron Jones, I believe, only played in the first half. So Tyron Jones, 14 minutes. It's kind of interesting because Tyron Jones was for a lot of this game really carrying the Rebels offensively early, at least. He did hit a three, the only three he took. So on the season, I think he's like shooting 33% on like 6 attempts. Tyron Jones finishes the game with 12 points and 6 rebounds. And again, that's only in 14 minutes. Weirdly enough, though, UNLV's defense was actually better without Tyron on the floor in this game, which I thought was interesting. He was cramping. I think he puked on the sideline. So maybe the altitude got to him a little bit, kind of odd. But Tyron Jones certainly in that first half was spectacular offensively, even if I thought it was a weak defensive half for him, jumping a little too often on pump fakes, etc. Howie Fleming had a really cool game. Awesome game, actually. Howie Fleming finishes with 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, no turnovers. Howie Fleming with 10 assists and no turnovers is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome, dude. Not to mention 2 blocks and 1 steal. That is the stat sheet stuffer supreme. Triple doubles are really difficult to do in college basketball. They do not happen very often. And so anytime a guy gets a triple double, you have to give him flowers. Really cool performance for Howie. Really happy with him. I thought he played awesome. And was physical, and the no turnovers and 10 assists. I mean, the 10 points, that's great. 10 rebounds, that's awesome. But 10 assists to no turnovers is just a really cool achievement. So congrats to Howie. Getting a triple double in college basketball is extremely difficult. And so to be able to pull that off is really fun and really cool. And couldn't happen to, I like Howie a lot. He was always been one of the signings of this team and one of the players on this team that I've been a big fan of. So great job to Howie. Miserable game for Isaac Williamson. He only plays 12 minutes. He has a 50 offensive rating. So the Rebels offense was just putrid, caca bad whenever Isaac Williamson was on the floor. He finishes the game with 1 rebound, 2 fouls, 2 points, missed both of the threes that he took. I think I think Isaac is probably the most replaceable player in this rotation. I mean, he's hit some big shots this year, but Isaac just did not play well in this one. Jacob Benarbi, I mean, his stats look okay, but again, only 1 rebound is kind of bad. 2 assists, 1 turnover, he had 9 points. 3 steals though, so I mean, you give him credit for being active in the passing lanes. I was not a fan of Jacob's game today. Just not a fan of Jacob as a player that much, to be honest. I mean, I like him individually. I think he's a cool guy. In the very, very, very limited interaction I've ever had with him, if any, honestly. I mean, I've said hi to him a couple of times walking around UNLV's campus, but I just offensively, defensively, just don't like Jacob's game. But today I guess he was fine. He played 20 minutes. Walter Brown had a pretty good game. He made the only three that he took, only 3 points. Gets out there, has 1 rebound, 4 assists to 1 turnover. So that's pretty good for Walter. Walter also had 4 steals, so he was very active. And now we get to kind of the top of the roster, the 2 best players on the team, between Tyron, Kimani, and Dre. Now, Tyron obviously doesn't play today. And, UNLV didn't really need him, even if that first half was pretty frustrating. But Dre Gibbs Lawhorn had the quietest 21 points you can remember. He had 3 personal fouls pretty fast in this game, and then ultimately kind of calmed down. Didn't even get in. I mean, he had 3 fouls in like the first 15 minutes, and then didn't commit another foul the rest of the game. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is shooting just an absurdly high clip from the 3-point line on the season. I have to check this because it's incredible. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is shooting almost 40% from three. So that's remarkable, and goes to show that, you look at his first 2 seasons at Illinois, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn was 25% and 22%, and not on like crazy small sample size. So Dre Gibbs Lawhorn has never been a 3-point shooter, but has turned into a pretty awesome 3-point shooter at UNLV. So, I mean, you got to give Dre credit. In conference play, Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is shooting, if you round up by 0.2, 47% from the 3-point line. That is remarkable. And that's not on, he shot 109 3-pointers in conference play. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is shooting the ball as well as any player is in college basketball right now. And these are not easy shots he's taking off the dribble threes. This team would be lost without Dre. So 21 points in this one, in what was a really good performance for Dre. Didn't get a ton of minutes. He only played 30 minutes, so I say a ton of minutes, but we're used to him playing 40-minute games. Finishes the game with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, no turnovers. Dre 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. Just an awesome player. But the MVP of the game is easily Kimani Hamilton. And it was really nice to see Kimani play this well. Kimani finishes with 27 points, 9 of 13 from inside the 3-point arc, 2 of 6 from 3, so 33% from 3. Made all 3 of his free throws. The Rebels were 10 of 13 from the free throw line in this game, so a good percentage. Finishes with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, only 1 turnover, 2 steals, no blocks. And Kimani, most of all, had 1 personal foul. So, I mean, this game doesn't mean that much, because it's against as bad of a team as there is in college basketball. If UNLV played Air Force 100 times, if they lost any, yeah, mutts. Yeah, good to see you, man. I always enjoy your wrap ups, Jason. Seems as though the officials just didn't want to call fouls on either team. I totally agree. I think that this game was basically a play on kind of game. And I don't quite know why the officials were calling it the way that they did, but it made for a pretty fast game. I mean, the game was over in under 2 hours, which is pretty cool. Honestly, for me, I mean, I would always prefer a game where the refs swallow their whistle a lot more than the refs calling 65 personal fouls. But yeah, I mean, it was a little odd. There were clear and obvious fouls committed by both teams that were not called. So, I mean, you take wins where you can get them, but I do think that the Rebels did maybe were the benefits a little bit on the inside as some of the fouls were called early on, and then they really weren't called the rest of the game. DPP asks, how does Howie consistently out rebound a taller Hamilton? Listen, man, Kimani has not been a good rebounder all season. He struggled with it a lot. I think he only has 1 or 2 games over 10 rebounds, and he's had a bunch of games under 5 rebounds at nearly 6'9", 6'8". With an incredible physique and a great leaping ability. Kimani Hamilton should be an awesome rebounder, and he just isn't. And so, frankly, Kimani's lack of rebounding has hurt this team a lot throughout the season. I mean, it was good to see him get 4 today, but again, as a guy that's 6'8", he should be getting a lot more. Howie Fleming is probably like 6'3.5", to be honest. Kimani's probably 6'7". But I don't quite know why Kimani can't get boards the way that he should. I think some of it has to do with his fouling issues. If he went in for a lot of rebounds, he would just get a lot of fouls. And so, the staff have tried to figure out ways to keep him on the floor and maybe not being super aggressive on defensive rebounding or offensive rebounding is a way that the staff has tried to keep him on the floor. I don't know, but if you look at his career, Kamani Hamilton, he has been an okay rebounder, certainly better than this in a lot of games. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about Kamani's rebounding. It hasn't been good enough. It's been pretty bad, to be honest with you. So ultimately, it is what it is, and Kamani's not a great rebounder, and that's just the way it is. And Howie, to his credit, is a very good guard rebounder. So frankly, the Rebels have found ways to compensate for Kimani being not a good rebounder, and yeah, that's kind of the way it is. So Air Force games are done. We swept Air Force. No embarrassing Air Force loss this season. That is nice, as the Rebels pretty clearly could not afford to lose to a team like Air Force. And I'm proud of Dre. I'm proud of the guys for going up there and getting a win. This team has played up and down a lot of the season, and just wins are nice. And you don't know how many Mountain West wins you're going to get. Looking at UNLV's schedule, our last four games are doozies, man. They're going to be tough. UNLV by per Ken Palm, and I guess I'll throw this up on the screen. Can't wait to see y'all on Saturday. Yeah, you too, Tavon. Good to see you. I'll throw up UNLV's kind of closing schedule here as we close out this post game show. I'm going to try and do a live show or something before the game on Wednesday against Grand Canyon. But UNLV, the schedule is hard now. I mean, it's going to be really difficult. They're easy stretch. Colorado State was one of their easier games. They lost that one. They won a game they should have lost at Boise State. And frankly, UNLV right now in conference play is 9-7, and 10-10 seems like a pretty likely outcome to me. That would be a disappointing finish. 500 finish for this team in conference play would be very disappointing. But they play four more games. They play at Grand Canyon. That's going to be tough. They play at Reno. They play Reno at home. They play Utah State at home, and then they play at San Diego State. Frankly, the two road games, I give the Rebels an okay chance of sneaking off one of those wins. Neither of these teams, Grand Canyon or San Diego State, are unbeatable. And UNLV, I think, matches up okay with both of them. And UNLV is a better road team than they are a home team. I mean, this team has not been good at home all season. They've struggled to win games at home against teams that aren't Cheeks McGee. And so, UNLV, if they can win one of those, basically, how can you finish the season? You have 7 conference losses right now. And you'd like to be in the 6th seed or the 7th seed. You'd really like to finish in the 6th seed if you can. I think a 7 or an 8 seed finish is probably the most likely, which will mean that UNLV will get a chance to play a team not named Air Force in the conference tournament. But it's 4 games: Grand Canyon, Reno, Utah State, and San Diego State. Can you go? I mean, best case scenario for me is probably 3-1. 2-2. I mean, that would put you on the season at 11-9. That's not great, but it's whatever. It is what it is. Can you go 2-2? Can you win 2 of these games? Can you win your home games, or can you steal one of the road games? I think that's about as good as you can hope for from this team. If they can go 2-2, they would at least finish the season off with a winning record. That would put them at 16-15. Again, which would not be good compared to what the expectations were coming onto the season. That would mean that they're likely going to finish the season 500 at worst. But yeah, I mean, 2-2, Grand Canyon, Reno, Utah State, and San Diego State. If I had to give the games that UNLV is most likely to win, the Reno game probably first. Then I would say probably the Grand Canyon game, and then probably the San Diego State game, and then probably the one they have the least chance of winning would be that home game versus Utah State. Utah State's clearly the best team in the conference. And even though I've resisted that, and I've tried to have San Diego State, I thought San Diego State's the best team in the conference. I think Utah State's proven that they're the best team in the conference now. So it's going to be tough. 2-2 would be. I mean, you could live with it. It would still suck, but you could live with it. 1-3 would be a disappointment, and 0-4 would be a disaster. So that is where we are right now. That is what we're going on. A couple more comments here. The last two triple doubles before today, Marvin Coleman. I do remember that Marvin Coleman got a triple double. I can't remember. It was against kind of a nobody, or no, it was against Utah State. Marvin Coleman, a Las Vegas local kid, had a triple double against Utah State, I think. Howie was also great on top of the assists. Great to see that. I totally agree. 10 assists, no turnovers for Howie is awesome. But we're in the home stretch, guys. We're in the home stretch of the first season of Josh Pastner. It's been a roller coaster of a season. There's been some fun wins. There's been some frustrating losses. I haven't been particularly happy with it, but I am happy that they won today. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they finish out the season. So I'm going to end it there, guys. You guys have an awesome rest of your Saturday. There's some fun basketball on tonight. If we just won that stupid Colorado State game, UNLV would be in a much stronger position. That's so frustrating. But I appreciate you guys all for checking out the show today. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, and let's run.